Hello, and welcome to the Cheap Seats. This week, we decided to go with an FPL edition just because we're going into a double game week. A lot of things are happening in the Premier League. Teams are now cementing their places in the top four. West Ham and Leicester looking to fight through the top four. Liverpool's trying to hold on to that spot. And so we're going into the double game week because the matches that were postponed due to COVID before before Christmas and around that time when Aston Villa had their little crises, are now being replayed and we've been positioned for this coming week. So there'll be games over the weekend and then there'll be games in midweek and there'll be one game week. There are only 3 teams that aren't having a double game week. I think 6 teams that aren't having a double game week. So that's something for you to notice. But a lot of the teams will be having double game. It's a very full one. It's the second one we've had. So I hope you've held on to your chips. But before we go forward, just a reminder to subscribe and follow and interact with us on these various platforms. Most important one is to like and subscribe to our YouTube platform that gets us into the algorithms and into the other FPL chats that are happening around the world. I've gotten Tsepo today with Dean to discuss their FPL changes in the tactics for the double game week. Tsepo, I see you drinking a little black label there. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Umpo. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, double game week. Very excited for that. I'm glad that you could potentially have 11 players in your side playing 2 games each, maybe even 15 and using a bench boost. So pretty keen for that. Lots of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Dean, how are you doing? How was your last game week?
Game week FPL wise was good. Managed to break into the top 200,000 in the world, so good mood there. Football wise, terrible. I know Cyrus went into detail about why we should hang on to Jose Mourinho, but I will never believe Cyrus from now on. So yeah, FPL perspective, great. Football perspective, absolute dog show. So got to look silver linings there.
So you got to do. You always have to try to do everything the opposite of what Cyrus is doing. I know Spurs are going through a lot right now. I think he had the whole Barnes-Madison situation. He picked Barnes, and everyone went Madison. But my game week was interesting. I'm in like the top million, so that helps. Like 970,000. But
yeah,
I
captained as well, Paul.
Yeah. So I captained. I captained Dallas. Stuart Dallas instead of Patrick
Great call.
So that kind of helped. First time I ever captained the defender. But that's what a double game week offers. You can captain quite a few more people. So, gents, we've got a double game week, but I want to talk about something very interesting. Last week, FPL Insider was leaking information before teams were necessarily finalized, or that deadline that was on Friday. He leaked the information that certain Leicester team people, or not Leicester, Aston Villa team people, including Matt Target, Conor Hurihane, who is on loan at Swansea, which is wild, and also the physio sold Jack Graelish before the deadline to kind of give, and this guy gave Leicester an early view of the Aston Villa team, and a lot of managers and teams are not happy about this, about FPL and its implications in the team. First and foremost, I think obviously the team's responsible. Like, if you're busy doing this, the team should have their own internal FPL policy. But what do you guys think of this? I'm going to start with Dean. What do you think of all this of this story that came out over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously controversial, but my whole view is, a lot of the times if you look at the guys that are playing FPL, I mean, you're looking for those manager pre-conference where they preview the game, and you get a lot of your information from there normally, right? The levels you have to go to try and track down the physio of Aston Villa's FPL decisions. How sad is your life, just to
exactly
on FPL. So, it's kind of like those guys that play five-a-side soccer and then think it's their route into Man United's first team. Like, there's also there for fun. This is a fun thing. How are you trying to make it, a professional career of nothingness, to be honest. So, in my point of view, it's obviously not great because, now guys are going to kind of look at that. And it's obviously, if you're top 5 in the world, then fine, it might make an impact on you. But to the average FPL guy, I mean, it's not really going to make a massive difference to you. So, yeah, it's sad in one respect that you have to go to that extent to try and find that information. But at the same time, I think it affects probably 0.01% of people that might take this way too seriously. And again, if you're going to look at Villa's physio's FPL points or movements, like maybe you should consider making friends,
Yeah.
So,
well, I'd like the Manchester City's physio's details because he's the guy I want. I don't want anybody else.
100%.
He's the guy who knows a lot. Temple, what do you think about all of this? Are we just making a mountain out of a molehill, or should teams put in their specific rules to say that you can't have players in your own team? Okay, that would suck for some of the teams, but hey.
Yeah, it's difficult to say, and as Dean said, this is quite the anomaly. I mean, how are you supposed to know? How is anyone actually supposed to know what fantasy like transfers that you're making? In the normal app, you can't see anyone else's transfers until the day, till the actual game day. So it's very interesting how they got this information, how they got it out there, and it's a bit unfortunate that now the people that are going to suffer the most are probably people that want to play FPL within the team setup. Because now, what if, as in this situation, that you have a hot player like Grealish there, now you just transfer him out. It turned out to be an advantage for you, but now people are watching you. I want to know what type of software does this man have to actually find? Or I say man, but person have to actually find out who's talking.
So what happened was that after the deadline, he released all of this information to say that certain Aston Villa players, and he named them, dropped Jack Graelish, and it was before the game they played on the Sunday, and so that gave Leicester the ability to prepare for a game without Jack Grealish.
Yeah, that's a problem there. Yeah, I'm not sure what the solution is, but yeah, people are going to have to be, especially if you're in the setup, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful with these situations. You need to avoid knee jerks. You need to see these things sort of coming and either bite the bullet for the sake of the team, understand that you as a FPL player actually do have an impact on not just selection, but your opponents. So, yeah, what turned out to be an advantage could actually be a bit of a disadvantage for them as players, or they just aren't allowed to play FPL, which is sad. But, hey, that's the price they have to pay.
Yeah, it also happened with Leeds with Liam Cooper, the centre-back, selling Alioski before their game in that game which gave everyone an opportunity. But imagine if you're Patrick Bamford, there's no other strikers. You can only play yourself.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe we need to figure out the players' FPL team names and then try find what they've done. But it's always going to be late, especially for us. But I think maybe there needs to be an embargo to stop people from posting. To stop FPL from, but you kind of need to see what the other people do, because that's what makes it fascinating. Because obviously, once the deadline closes, you want to see what everyone's done. So I don't know how it's going to work, but I don't think FPL is going to be shut down anytime soon.
No doubt, no, definitely not.
Yes. So moving on to double game week, we've got a series of double game weeks coming up. We've got one in game week 26, which is what we're talking about now, and then we've got one in 27. But it's not a full double game week like this time with. I think it's. I think this week there's about there's 16. Yeah, so game week 26 there's 16 matches. Game week 27 there's 11 matches, and the only teams that have the double game week are City and Southampton. And then there's a blank game week where there's only like 6 fixtures happening because of the FA Cup, and that's in game week 29. So. Yeah. Teppo, looking at this series, and we're gonna go through the double game weeks, and we'll probably have you on as well. What's your plan for the next 3 weeks? But most importantly, in this one, do you still have chips left? That's the first question.
Yeah. So to answer the question, yes, I do still have my triple captain and bench boost. A free hit would have been nice, but those two are good. I was saving them for these times here because this is when big points could be had, and you could really get some big jumps in your mini leagues. And if you're sitting in one, if you're sitting at two, you can get to one. If you're in one, you can really consolidate that position. So yeah, it's all about the chip strategies and planning your transfers well in advance. So for example, now's a good time to get 2 Spurs players in, double up on Spurs because they have a lovely double game week with Burnley.
Burnley and Fulham.
Yes, with Burnley and Fulham. Great counter-attacking football. We know the qualities of the likes of Kane and Son. And then you also have them for the long run in game week 29 because they are one of the few teams that are playing in that blank game week. So you sort of have to make sure that you're not just transferring impulsively, you're not just having knee-jerk reactions. Every transfer now you have to sort of maximize all the game weeks. So yeah, or try get as many double game weeks as possible to get as many opportunities to score points as possible. That's the name of the game.
So are you thinking of playing the bench boost, or are you thinking of going triple captain on Kane?
So it was a bit difficult to decide because you could possibly take a point hit and then do a bench boost where you have many or 15 people playing double game weeks. But I think I'll save the bench boost for maybe that game week 29. If I really stack out the team with people that are all playing and you get the bench boost going, you could get a really big gap there. So for now, I'm going to probably use my triple captain on Kane or Son. I'm not really sure who yet. I want to just check the Europa fixture just to see how they play there.
They've already played.
Oh, they've already played. Sorry. So,
yeah, and they didn't play.
They didn't play.
They didn't.
So, boom, just like that. There, decisions already made. Well, not decisions already made, or at least I know I've made a good decision. You're expecting them both to play to really get Spurs moving up the.
Not really. We were leading 4-1. We were leading 4-1 in the first leg. So we're never going to play Kane and Son. Thank goodness we didn't play Kane.
And I was this age when I found out there's a Wolfsburger in Austria instead of Germany. Because I was like, wait, why isn't this team wearing green? And then I was like, wait, it's light blue.
I was waiting for that terrible logo, that W logo of theirs, and then they came up. I was like, okay, different team.
So Dean, on your end, because obviously I don't have any chips left, so I'm playing straight up. And the only strategy that I had to do was to make sure that at least the 11 on the field is playing twice. So to a certain extent, the only player that I have that isn't playing twice is Patrick Bamford, and he's playing Aston Villa. But I had to take a 4-point hit to bring somebody in, which I think is fair because you get in the double game week, you kind of can take that hit much better. So that was my thing. Do you have any chips left? But even if you don't, what's the strategy?
Yeah, I don't have any chips left. I played a triple captain on Son like in game week 8 when we played West Brom and he didn't do anything. So that was a stupid move. But I got everyone else of mine are playing double game weeks except for my Leeds players, which I brought in specifically for last week's game week, and it came to the good. I always had Melia, Dallas, and Bamford. So they're playing Villa. Villa at the moment, you don't really know what's going to happen. So Dallas could keep a clean sheet, and Melia and Bamford could probably score. So for me, the other guys on my bench are all West Ham players, and they're playing City, so that's not hopeless. So they're not going to do anything. So in terms of transfers, I think we say it all the time, like you have to make sure you're getting the best, the most amount of double game week fixtures that you can possibly get. The issue with, you can kind of look at it as an issue or a good thing for this week is there's so many different teams that have so many good double game week fixtures. Obviously, Spurs sticks out because of Burnley and Fulham, but even if you look at City, they've got West Ham, Wolves. They can easily go ahead and dominate there. You look at even Villa, they got Leeds, Sheffield, also can do it there. Salah or Liverpool's got Sheffield, and then a bit of a tricky one against Chelsea, so it could either go either way there. And Everton as well have got a Southampton, West Brom. So DCL guys there. So it's one of those game weeks where it's really well spread. That's why you can't just focus. That's the problem.
Yes, and Leicester have Arsenal and Burnley, which could is very good because Arsenal have not beaten a team in the top 10 or have, I don't know, but the stat is if you're in the top 10, Arsenal can't beat you. or above them. Arsenal can't beat you. So yeah, it's just wild like that. So gents, let's go into. Okay, let's talk about if you've got a free hit, and let's talk to the guys who've got a free hit. If you've got a free hit, you can play it. Obviously, if you've got any of the chips, I would suggest play one of your chips. But if it's a free hit, you can play it because then you can adjust it. But if you got a free hit and a bench boost, rather use the bench boost now because you can pack your 15 with guys who're playing double, and then use your free hit for the blank game week later on, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, if you've got a wild card, this would be the best time to use it. I think, yes, there might be more postponements down the line, which is I sincerely doubt. There's only a few more games that they will need to postpone that still need to be rescheduled. It's like 2. So this probably is the last chance I think you can use to try and use your wild card. Triple captaining is very interesting because, how do you triple captain someone in a double game? Do you look for instance, like Teppo speaking about Spurs? So you double up on Spurs, you triple captain either Son or Kane, even though we were told that the attacking strategy at Spurs is kick the ball up to Son and Kane, which is wild. Or do you go Mo Salah, hoping he hat tricks or doubles against Sheffield and possibly even does something against Chelsea? And then we'll go into that. But so you're looking at those fixtures, you're seeing how it's going to work. Is that the strategy, or is there something else in terms of this one?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, and it comes back to my earlier point, if I have a free hit, I would wait, because more than likely you have a bunch of these guys anyway in your team, because the fixtures are so well spread. You've probably got a lot of the big hitters that have got good fixtures anyway in your team. So there's no point in hitting and going to that free hit, because you probably have more than 11 guys playing double game weeks. The triple captain one is interesting as well, because again, and this is the point we've also made, that with a double game week, you also have to make sure that the guy you're triple captaining is going to play both games. So avoiding City guys is obviously a big thing there, unless you've got like a Gundogan or someone like that. But it's always tough, especially now with Champions League football happening, last week, this week. Guys are going to get tired. So you have to make sure the guy you're going to triple captain is a good for both games. And I think that's why Spurs is probably, if you've got triple captain, Kane will always play. So you're safe there. In terms of the other guys, Salah will probably also play, but you also don't know. He might decide to just kind of go a little bit easy against Sheffield, although Liverpool's not really in that position to take any game light at the moment. But yeah, that's my biggest thing. So the triple captain can be good, but it's also a bit of a bad thing if you overthink it. So if you've got that gut feel, I mean, if I had it, I would have played it this week and I would have put it on Kane.
I was a bit trigger happy in December trying to chase in a mini league that does rallies per month, and I was like, I have to triple captain Salah, and it didn't work out. Teppo, any final words around captaincy that you think guys should use?
No, I just want to agree with Dean, man. Go with your gut. Don't think about it too much. Look at the fixtures, look at the form, and also the eye test is your best buddy. Honestly, don't just choose a triple captain just because of form and fixtures. Check how they played in the last game. Look at how they were being used. As much as Tottenham Hotspur basically just passed the ball to Son and Kane, Son and Kane are quality players. There were a few chances that Kane almost created when he blanked against West Ham in that 2-1 loss. The pass, there was a pass just to Gareth Bale, that a potential assist to Gareth Bale when he almost got it in there with one of his shots. So in terms of form and fixtures, trust the eye test, and go with your gut.
Okay. That's going to take us to our moment where we're now going to analyze your transfers in, transfers out, your differential and your captaincy of the week. We'll start with our friend and our guest, Teppo. Teppo, you selected Harvey Barnes as your transfer in. Thomas Souček, transferring him out. Ricardo Pereira is your differential for the week, and you're captaining Harry Kane. What do you think? What was your thinking around all of this?
So with the Leicester boys and Barnes and Pereira, their fixtures are looking absolutely stellar. Got relatively decent double game week there with one of their games against Burnley, and then in the long run, the fixtures are looking very, very good. So yeah, it's form fixtures and also their position in the log. It doesn't look like these gents are going to take pedal off the metal anytime soon. Um, their European um, they how often they play European football isn't even uh, they don't even play that much. So you know that of the top four, they probably besides West Ham, them and West Ham, they have the freshest legs and the best games. And in terms of Thomas Suchek, it's literally the fixtures. I mean, you have one game and it's only Man City. You don't expect anyone to be scoring a lot of goals against Man City this season. Haven't really conceded many. So yeah, the likes of Thomas Suchek, maybe Antonio. It's either Thomas Suchek or Antonio, but one West Ham player should be coming out of your side now after they had a great run of fixtures before. Yeah, but the run of fixtures have basically come to an end now. And then with the captaincy option with Harry Kane, that was already discussed at length. I mean, he's a 90-minute player. He's also on penalties, so even if he flops, and someone just falls in the penalty area and a Premier League referee makes a bad call, which isn't a foreign thing that does happen from time to time. Harry Kane will be the one to cash in there. So yeah, with my differential in Pereira, why I made him a differential, or at least I think of him as a differential. He hasn't had a lot of game time. He's coming back from injury, but if when I watched him in the last game, he was very high up the pitch, um, taking shots on goal, much like Cancelo for Man City. So yeah, I'm not really sure whether he's going to play or not. But at 5.9 and in a Leicester side that are looking pretty decent, fulfilling that James Justin role with James Justin's injury. Yeah, Pereira comes in, slots in very nicely as an attacking defender, and also great defense as well, or decent defense with Kasper Schmeichel in goal and Soyuncu and the likes also in the defense there. So yeah, Leicester players are definitely good ones.
Yeah, so I like the whole Harvey Barnes. I think I brought Harvey Barnes into mine. Pereira is a good pick because obviously the question was with Leicester's wing backs all injured, Castagne not knowing what's going on, and them having a tendency of playing that three at the back with pushing the wing backs further up the field. Pereira might just come back, and before his injury, he was great value for money in FPL, which is why he's a 5.9 defender. Suchek in my team has dropped to the bench for this game week. He's probably the next one out the door.
You'll never transfer him in, Martin. You'll never transfer him.
And obviously Harry Kane I think is a great one. What do you think of Tepo's selections there, Dean?
Yeah, I think it's a good one. I agree with shipping West Ham guys out. It's also on my pick, but yeah, I think they had a good run of form. They play City, but they're following that they play Leeds. So, you kind of think Leeds with the leaky defense, one of the guys could come good there, Antonio or Suchek. But I think from now on, their fixtures aren't that great. So I'd agree with getting some of the West Ham guys out. And then, yeah, in terms of Leicester players, I think Leicester's got such a great run of fixtures as well coming up. So trying to cash in on those Leicester assets, they got Arsenal, which we all know is not a big team. And then they play Burnley, Brighton, and Sheffield. So it's not a tough run of fixtures for Leicester guys. You can definitely catch in there. And I think there's quite a big range, like we've mentioned, the Maddison and Barnes discussion, and then obviously you've got the guys up front with Vardy, and then in that defense is looking solid. So Leicester's definitely a good option, and I think it's a good option if you don't do it this week to try and look at it bringing it in sometime soon. So yeah.
Okay, so now let's move on to my selection quickly, and then we'll do Dean's last. I transferred in like Tepo Harvey Barnes. I think he's going to do quite well, and I think with Leicester's run of games, he's a better guy. The guy I transferred out was Heung-min Son, and I was telling you guys last week that I would transfer out Heung-min. and then the differential for me was Bertrand Traore for Aston Villa because of the fixtures. They've got Leeds and Sheffield. I captained Ollie Watkins. I think he's a differential captain. But I kind of felt that Aston Villa could come out with something this week. And so I'm hedging my bets there. I do have Bamford in my side, so it's going to be very weird. But I'm hoping for the second game week, the second game, which is the Sheffield game, where I do think the Aston Villa guys will come through. Teppo and Dean, what do you guys think?
I think it's good. I mean, the only thing is Sun transferring out. Sun transferring out is a bit touch and go though, Paul. You have to keep those Spurs assets. That's just the heart speaking though. No, but definitely keeping. I think everyone's given Sun so much time that everyone's had enough of him. So getting Barnes in for Sun is a good call, especially like I said with the Leicester stuff coming forward. Traore is an interesting differential pick. I've seen a lot of guys go Villa because they also do have a pretty easy run of form. I think they've got Leeds, which anyone can score against Leeds. So it'll be interesting there. And, a lot of guys are thinking of bringing in Watkins also for game week 29 because Villa play. So it's quite a good option for a while. So good pick, but don't overtake me in the league, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, let's go to Teppo. Teppo, what do you think? I think we've lost Teppo, but his battery is dying, but we will do that. Let's do your last one, Dean, and give us your
getting an Arsenal fan to judge my FPL picks. This is the greatest moment of my life.
Okay. Dean, take us through your team.
So transfer out Sufal. Had a great run, got me a lot of points in the past, but as we've said, the run of fixtures up until like the very end of the season aren't looking that great. So if Spurs can score against you, anyone can. So as a defender, West Ham, you need to go, as well as single game week, got City, so it's not going to go well for them. So that was an easy transfer out. And then in terms of looking at guys to bring in, Dini just kind of tickled my fancy more because of, okay, they play Southampton and then West Brom, and Dini is good going forward. Obviously, he is a bit expensive, but everyone's got a bit of cash lying around because everyone transferred out KDB. But I think he can also play in that midfield role, which we saw Everton do that against City. And okay, it didn't come good against City, but he can definitely play in that position. And he's also on free kicks, corners, all those kind of good things. So in terms of that, trying to look at a defender that not everyone is thinking about, and him, only 8.2% of FPL have him. So pretty decent there. And then Captain Kane, if you don't captain Kane, I said last week, if you don't captain Bamford, you don't know what you're doing in FPL. And then Fernandes went and outscored him, so I won't use that phrase anymore. But you should be captaining Kane. And then as a differential, the Gareth Bale situation is going to become interesting, I think, from a Spurs perspective. There's no doubt amongst Spurs circles that Gareth Bale should be playing. He should be starting. Against West Ham, he was the only person that, when he came on, he changed the game, and it looked like he was the only one that knew what to do with the ball at his feet. Played really well the previous week in Europa League and played really well last night. Managed to get a goal there. So it's going to be touch and go between Gareth Bale, for me, differential-wise, between Gareth Bale or Dele Alli, especially given his performance last night with that amazing bicycle kick and then getting 2 assists as well. So Dele or Gareth Bale could be a good differential, but I think in terms of guys who are more likely to play, it's Gareth Bale. I think Dele has a bit of groveling to do still with Jose before he walks into that team. So, interesting. It's going to be interesting, but I think, definitely guys should look out for those Spurs assets, and getting rid of Son for maybe a Gareth Bale is probably a good choice.
Okay, Teppo, what do you think, my man?
Yeah, I really like Gareth Bale in the team as a differential. His performance has really come up, and I mean, he's been a class act for so many years, and it was only a matter of time before he started performing, and that performance against West Ham was him bouncing back. So it was really good to see that. Yeah, and I much agree with the transfer out of Sufal. West Ham, their run of fixtures are basically, their good run of fixtures are basically coming to an end now, and now we're going to see the quality. But quickly commenting on your team, Umpo, I saw lots of Aston Villa there, and does not concern you, Aston Villa without the likes rather of uh, Jack Grealish as the main creative player that normally sets up the goals for the likes of Ollie Watkins. Is that not quite a ballsy move? Like quite very, very risky. I mean, yeah,
So
Watkins without his main provider.
I think for me, so the rationale behind that was they're playing Leeds and Sheffield. You don't need much creativity for
Fair enough.
Fair
so
stuff.
that was my
Yeah, but other than
Okay.
that, Dean's team looks good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, gents, thank you very much for your teams and giving us the tips of the double game week. Remember, to all those who are watching and will watch on YouTube and are listening on the podcast, remember the deadline is Saturday, not Sunday. It would be wild if it was Sunday. It's Saturday. I think 11 o'clock South African time.
What's the first time? What's the first game? What's the first game?
It's early. Yeah, so it's very early. So it's 11 o'clock UK time, 1 p.m. South African time. So please do get your teams in. Double game week. Don't say we didn't warn you. If you've got chips, use them. If you don't have chips, there's nothing else I can do for you. You just don't like the rest of us.
Yeah, just sauce.
But thank you very much, guys, for joining. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Tepo. And thank you for watching. And we'll catch you on the flip side with the cheap seats. Thank you very much.